right. Now we're in business. I was like, where's the record button? It was right there in front of my face. So we're going to get going today on the updates for fall with the Facebook Ads Manager, Meta. And there's always stuff that's going on, especially in the fall time. We are getting into holiday season, definitely as of right now. I already started seeing holiday stuff a few weeks ago in September. So it's typical, right? People are trying to get ahead of the traffic that comes on at this time of year, especially as we get closer to holiday season. This is an extraordinarily long holiday, or not say long. November is very a long month. And what I looked at was the Thanksgiving is at the end of the month. It's the last Thursday. So what that means is that the holiday advertising time is going to be short, just going from Black Friday to Christmas. So it's like very short. Like I haven't seen it this short in like years. So we've got the 27th, we have Black or Thanksgiving, and then we just literally have one, two, three, 3.5 weeks ish of shoppable time to order and send on the internet. So what does that mean to us with Facebook? I have been doing ads on Facebook and Instagram. Well, Instagram obviously came in a little later, but I've been doing ads on Facebook for 15 years. So what we see, and I've been teaching this to other people since 2016, what we always see is there is going to be some increase of cost of lead. Most likely. It could be a little bit or it could be a couple dollars a lead. It's just because it's going to get really competitive. And it's just like going into when the old days, the new malls have become the internet. Like that's just basically what it is. The new mall has become the internet, because everybody's shopping online, and people now are more comfortable shopping on the internet. And Facebook by far is like where everybody's at. So we're going to see the congestion coming as of that. Like I said, we've been doing this for so many years. It's just like, okay, here we go. But I've already seen some holiday stuff, but I will tell you we will for sure be seeing it in a couple weeks. People are just going to come in and do that. So, um I'm always looking forward to doing that, because I'm like, well, I just know I got to get through. But typically for running ads for, anybody's business, if you've got good ads, you're still gonna be fine. You know what I mean? Like if your ads are good, you're still gonna be fine. So let me put this here. So fall update, we're gonna start with the holiday season is short. So what does that mean? We have people are gonna advertise earlier. We're also going to see with this, we might see an increase of cost per lead, and also CPMs can go up, which can lead to cost per lead going up. We'll just have how Facebook accommodates the the increased volume is that there's congestion in the feed, just kind of like my sinuses. Congestion in the feed, so there's more ads per post. This is just totally what happens. Um, and let me go here. So what do we need to do with this is that our creatives need to be very good, and you'll still win, right? If that's the case. So, if you are writing ads in a better way and they perform better, your ads are going to get shown over the ads that are crappy. And there's a lot of crappy ads out there in the world. So, it's really what it is. So I just wanted to touch on the holiday just a little bit. I've got a couple main things that I want to talk about, but this is one of them because we're coming into that season. Luckily, it's not an election year like last year, where then you've got the political um, ads that you're going against. We don't have that this year, so I think we've got some elections next year, but this year we're good. But the holiday season is short, so we've got that to deal with. Now let's talk about, what are we seeing in the ads manager itself? We are seeing uh, basically refreshing. Oops, can't spell creatives. So basically, every couple weeks, the ads need to be refreshed when they start slowing down. Oh, hold on, let me move this out of the way. There we go. Okay, get that. Okay, when they start slowing down. So new images, freshen up the words, maybe some new headlines. And here's the deal, you should be always testing new stuff anyways. You should have an incubator of 10% of your ads budget should be going into um new creatives anyways. So you just pull those into the actual campaigns that you're running. Okay. So we'll see that happening still. Like it's definitely a thing that we're seeing more than ever because, as we know, Facebook Meta wants us to have content that keeps people on the platform. So, therefore, old, stale ads is something they don't want, right? So, we want, Meta does not want old, stale ads. Okay. So keep it fresh. These are all part of the updates that we saw from the uh, Andromeda update. But we're also seeing some other things is that you have to have variant um, ad types to really to appease the um, funnel. So what I mean by that is that we've got top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, and these ads are all different. Top of funnel are like awareness ads, which could also be like awareness in the concept, not necessarily an awareness ad on Facebook. So they're usually awareness ads, engagement ads. They could be traffic ads, but you know, so this is getting a word out. In the middle of funnel is, having some type of opt-in, I call it a carrot. There's something for them for their information so that we're moving them into the next level so that we are really attracting uh, the right people. And these can be lead ads or conversion ads. They could be messenger ads too. And then bottom of funnel are these are, let's get the action takers. So the action takers are, could be book a call, could be register for this thing, could be, come to a Zoom, or it could be just buy this, right? It could be just buy this. So it could be, it's really about, you could use a catalog ad here. You can, Ruth, bottom of funnel should it say something about, you could, depending on what the ad is, right? If the ad is just an engagement ad, or not engagement, if it's just a register for this webinar or something like that, it just depends on, you know, if your people are saying they're too broke, you got to start changing that at the top of funnel. The message from the top needs to change, because it's the ad is not attracting. How do you say, meta is not bringing you broke people. Meta is bringing you broke people because that's how the ad is written. So that's got to change. Yeah, it's got to start from the top. um yeah, Jackie, the ads will change every couple weeks. Learning phase really means nothing. They're just learning. It's always learning, so if it goes back into learning mode, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. um so bottom of funnel, action takers, book a call, register, Zoom, buy this, that kind of thing. So it is, you're right here. Top of funnel ads are these. And as they get closer to taking action with you, middle of funnel, and then bottom of funnel. Okay. So that's these ones right here. So we just need to change the action, but talking about lead quality, because it is really, this is really what Andromeda is about, is finding the right people. Problem is, if your message in your ad is not sending the signal strong enough, you are going to be, uh how do you want to say this, attracting the people you don't want. And it always goes back to, because you got to remember now, Facebook, Meta is operating on basically SEO. So your content needs to really up the ante and speak to the right person and repel the rest. And that's because it's literally scanning your ad, it's scanning your landing page, your send to, it's looking at your audience targeting a little bit in the ad set, and then it's profiling who they think it would be interested in this, and then they're sending it out there, and then whoever starts to advertise, click on your ad, they just show more of. So we really, we've got to look at, doing deeper research on who is the ideal person and what do they want, what do they not want. So, it's like you would speak to somebody that has money or has drive in a different way than somebody who doesn't. So it's really important to get very clear on this. And then your yeah, your ads are finding you because you're your ideal person, Tammy. And that is also part of what, sometimes if you're, especially if you're really getting it locked and it's not going into the deeper levels of the audience. I will talk about that in a minute. Oh, this is actually four. Um, so you can do this through images. You can do it through your copy. You can also call out your ideal um, prospect, or lead, whoever you want, in the first sentence. But like there's different ways to do it, and you can repeat it throughout, throughout the entire ad copy. So um, this is important. Like this is why the big algorithm that changed, that we had. That's how this changed. Like it basically is making this into SEO. So you've got to look at your stuff and say, why is it attracting people who are a certain thing? You've got to look at that. And that is what um, we have to dial in and say, okay, if I'm seeing this trend, what is it about my ad that is doing that? Why are they looking at this and attracted to it? What can I add in there that will repel them? And sometimes adding a cost in there is something that is accurate. That's something to test. It's something to test to be able to add that in there. So the put that there. So you can put in, like ideally, who do you want? I mean, that's really, you've got to go back to the avatar exercises, and also getting into the research into Facebook or in YouTube, or going into Reddit, or going into Amazon, reading reviews, reading what people are saying, so that you know exactly what to say. And this is also some, you can do some deeper research using ChatGPT or Grok, or something like that. And you can say, I'm getting these kinds of people responding. You could actually ask, you could take your ad copy and, put it into, let me do this here. I was just used to use the LLMs. So you could put your ad copy and headline into the GPT and ask it, who would this ad attract? Or actually, I always start out with like, what is this ad about? And you would ask that. And then you ask, who would this ad attract? And you could also ask questions like, how would you make this better? And then you can tell it, this ad is attracting XYZ kind of people. How can we repel them? And don't take what it gives you right off the surface, because you still need to make sure that it's, you've got to look at it and use your brain and say, you can look at it and say, if it's not even strong enough in the repelling, you can say, I don't think that's strong enough. Make this very obvious that blah blah blah, whatever that thing is you want to attract or not, you know what I mean? So and you can take ads that are very good, that are performing well, and load them in even as well as to train the GPT. But these are the kind of dialogues you can have. I would find out like exactly this if I'm looking at let me grab an ad. If I go into this, let me see here. Let me see if I can find an ad right off the top. I'm just looking for an ad that actually has some copy. I could grab one of my own, I guess. I could just do that. Let's just grab this. All right, let's grab this ad copy. And that's why I go down a little bit, go up. Oh, this drives me nuts. There we go. Okay. What is this ad about and who would it attract? See what it says. And you read it. I mean, it's definitely hitting my target. I could say this ad is actually attracting really good people. So I don't want to like, uh, let's see. Are there any opportunities? I can't spell in this ad to make it better attract women who earn at least a 100K per year that have a network marketing business as well. They either want to transition to full time or earn a sweet side biz money. Let's ask it. I mean, we could always dial in the avatar, right? There. So this is how you start digging in. I'm not going to go deeper, but I mean, that ad is already crushing it. But, guess what? It's going to need to be refreshed very soon. And what does that mean? It's time to, maybe add in a couple things to see if I can improve it. So I just, especially these types of things here, where we're talking, we're reframing things and stuff like that. So anyways, this is how I would start to analyze, and you can just keep asking the questions, out of, you could put in there like 50% of the people that respond to my ad, they are this broke. And you might even look at different things such as like maybe they're coming from a certain area. Maybe you need to exclude certain states. You might, you could always have the income exclusion in there, but sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. But if you're finding, especially if they're all coming from a certain area, because sometimes if these people are commenting or engaging on the ads, Facebook is going to show them to other people in that same area. So I would also look at that. You might need to exclude certain things. Um, let's see. Also, you want to, more than ever, we have to, and I want to go back into um, using your variant ad types. I want to talk about the structure because I talked about this more in depth um, to my clients that we had this week. And I want to talk about it a little bit more, or just even starting to touch on it here, because obviously, for time's purposes, we can't really do this. But it's really important right now to, and this goes back to sending the signals to your audience, that the top of funnel ads, if you've got a lead problem, quality problem, it starts right here. So these top of funnel um, ads, they need to really speak to that person, like I just showed in the chat GPT. Like I'm looking at those different pieces and I can make content based off of this as an engagement ad, as a video engage, for video views. And then what you do is you let this populate. You're running these ads at $5 to $10 a day per ad, depending on how big the audience is. And you can have, like four different ads at like $3 a piece or however you want to run it, depending on your budget. But then what you do is from that, you create an audience, a custom audience. And now you're running your lead ad to those. So the thing is, the problem is this takes a little while to populate. It could take a few months. So one thing that I do is I show my clients how to create the structure for these, even in like some of the initial work that we do together, how to do these initial ads, and they're engagement ads, and they're populating and they're going and they're populating and they're going and they're just doing their thing. But after they've been running a while, now we can build an audience from that. And we need more, like we need tens of thousands of people in this audience. Like you could start using it like at 1,000 or 2,000 people, but you might need to pulse the ad on and off, the lead ad, because if you only have like 1,000 people in that audience and you're retargeting it with like an action taking ad, like opt into this or register for this or whatever the thing is, that audience, if it's really small, is going to burn out really fast. So you might need to turn it on and turn it off and turn it on, turn it off. You'll see the frequency, if the frequency goes through the roof. But and then as this goes and populates, you start to build these audiences. Like I started one about 6 weeks ago, maybe almost longer, maybe 8 weeks ago. And this audience that I have is now up to like 70, 80,000 people, but it's been running for 2 months. And I'm doing like $10 a day just in engagement ads. And I was running it even higher. So these audiences are, you're creating your own audience. So, and then once you run this lead ad, you can go back even on the bottom of funnel ad, which is the big ask. And sometimes these two things are similar. I'm not going to lie to you. But these are where you're really going for the big ask, for the leading into the action of them buying or doing business with you. These can be, you're retargeting these people. You can also retarget these people depending on how, you can actually show people ads in layers. So you can say, these people, say this is a video, this could be, people who've never seen your stuff. So you have no exclusion. But then you can do, once people have watched, it depends on your budget, because you got to have a little bit bigger budget to do this. But you can have, this is a video that's going out to the whole market. So we're just going to make, this is like the world. That's North America. This is over there, you know. So like this is going to the world. Then you can take these videos and you can make an audience that once they've watched 25% of those videos, you can show them the next video. You actually create an audience. So 25% video views of this one, then they start to see this next ad and so on. Then you could take it and have it, you could make it higher than 25%, but 25% is a pretty good number. Um, then you can say, well, if they've watched 25% of this video, you show them the next video. And you can layer it so you can actually bring them through a journey of totally unaware to more aware to more aware. So you can actually show them a series of videos. But this, you need more money in the budget. Like you'd probably be running $100 a day budget on something like this to really get enough volume through, and the audience needs to be open targeting. But this is a really great strategy where you actually stack and you make more and more qualifying content for this. And then you've got people that are basically, by the end of this, they're like right here at the bottom of the funnel. You can say book a call directly, or you can get them to register for something that's really going to lead to an ask at the end, where you're going to ask them to buy something big time. I've got an audience like that. I've got something I'm going to be releasing that oh, I should have done a screenshot of that one. I should have done a screenshot of that one before I put it away. um, when you create your custom audiences, Tammy, it'll show you how big the audience is. If the audience is not over 1,000, it won't tell you. But when you create the audience in the audiences area of the ads manager, it'll tell you how big the audience is. So then you will know when it's big enough to go after. I mean, I've got like my main one that is if I go back to this, let me just draw this. So like if you've got, this one, and um I just had a thought and it went out of my head. Top, mid, bottom. So this one it's going to take a while. Like it could definitely take a while, but once this starts to hit over 1,000 is where we can start to do stuff with it. But like example of mine, the people that have watched, they've done like a through play, which is like 3 seconds of the video, or like it's kind of depending on how long the video is, if it's a reel or if it's the other one, regular videos over 30 seconds. It's not a reel, it's a regular video. You can a through play, I think a through play maybe is 15 seconds. um like on mine running for a month, that's like 80,000 people. But then people who've watched 25% of the video, because I intentionally put longer videos, because I'm not going to make audiences, you know, I mean, I do have reels that I want them to watch at least 95% of the reel, which they're like 30 seconds. But if I'm doing a video that's longer, like 2 to 3 minutes, and I'm asking for 25%, I've got a much higher, uh, a more interested person at that, right? So if you're taking 25% views of a reel, which may be 30 seconds, they've only watched 10 seconds. If you take 25% of a 4 minute video, they've watched a minute. This person is way more qualified. So I intentionally have longer videos in there, like 3 minutes, and depending on your budget and depend what you want, you can have even longer videos, but they have to be very engaging, and they got to be stuff that people want. You could go 5-10 minutes, but I think 3 to 4 minutes is just good enough on a very specific topic that only these people would be interested in. Even though it's a top of funnel video, I'm giving them information that really, somebody who's super interested is going to be wanting it. Okay. Okay, I don't know if I should do oh, I got okay. I'm going to do this and put this back in here as I clear this off. This is the magic of this. There we go. See, I made it into a picture. Okay, one thing that I want to add to this is you to exclude, this can address the issue, exclude page ad engagers. Because one thing we're seeing with these updates recently is that they're locking in, um, they're locking into people, and what they're doing is showing the ad. Some people's ads managers are doing this. So if your frequencies are really growing like really fast, like they're going high, going to 2 to 3 in a few days. So you launch your ad, all of a sudden it's like the frequency is going to 2 to 3 within like 3 to 5 days. The algorithm, the updated algorithm, I've seen it do this. It's done it to my own stuff. I've seen it do it to a few people. So what we're doing is we're building an audience of people who have engaged with the page in the last 3 days. Then we exclude it. So we build the audience and then we exclude it. And it's helping. What it does is it's helping people um, not get that high frequency. So like if you put it in there and you put it underneath the custom audiences and you put in a 3 day page engagement, people who've engaged with the page in the last 3 days, you put that in there as an exclusion, it'll help push it out to new people. And that might be helpful for you, Tammy. But I've seen this. I've had to do it myself in all my ads because it was locking into, even though my targeting was like wide open, like pretend this is the whole everybody, wide open targeting of tens and tens of millions of people. I did age exclusion, I did gender, and obviously US. Those were the only three things I was putting into my targeting. But it was picking like a tiny group of people and it was showing it to them like 4 times in like 3 days. So I'm like, you need to stop that. So I created an audience of anybody who engaged with the page. And then now it's under the exclusion under custom audiences. And I've noticed I'm not seeing my own ads 100 times a day anymore. It's helping push it into, it's helping it push it out into the other parts of the audience, and get other people. And that's the whole thing with this new update is that it is really, again, we're going back to it's SEO. It's trying to go back and find people that they think are really interested in your stuff. And so they think they're helping you by showing it to these people over and 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 over, when in fact it's not helping you to a point. And I had this conversation with somebody yesterday. So what happens with, when you, especially when you do certain kinds of ads, especially like sales ads, um, 50% of the budget goes to retargeting and 50% is supposed to find new people. But I've had it happen to me where it was like 1% was going to new people and like 99% of my budget was retargeting. But the problem was is it wasn't getting new sales. If it was selling like crazy, it would be great, but it wasn't. And so I was talking to somebody and I said, well, so long as your budget, if it's doing that and you're selling the way you want to sell, it's okay if the frequency gets a little higher and you're still converting to sales within your KPIs. But if you're not, and you have a situation like me where they were like showing it and it was selling like for a day or two and then it was dead in the water because they just literally kept showing it to this micro-sized audience. I had to step in with page engagement and kick them out if they haven't seen it in 3 days, or 3 day page engage, and it really really helped. So that's another thing that we're really seeing, that we have to kind of be noting, is that now there are other things that I do quickly want to talk about here is that you've got to really watch, the got to watch the Advantage Plus stuff, which this is, when The platform puts in new features. They are going to try to sneak them into your campaigns and have you pay for the development of the AI. So when it comes for, especially that you'll notice this with the in the image area, you got to go in there into your images and just turn off all that shit. It's like all this Advantage Plus enhancements and I mean music and like all these crap. Turn it off. Turn it all off. You don't want them coming up with stuff. You want to do it even with the headlines, turn it off. They'll do variants of your, text enhancements. Turn it off. Audiences, Advantage Plus needs to be handled with kid gloves because it can bring you ultra garbage if you don't, like it's this the Advantage Plus wants to bring you cheap leads. It doesn't care about quality. So you need to test with with Advantage Plus and without and see what you're getting in your results. Also placements. Like if you look in your ads manager and you go under the data, you can look at placements. You can see where it's like placing your ads. Make sure that it's not burning through your budget on like something crazy like right hand column. So make sure you limit this. I've gone back to feed. I've gone back to feed, despite it like giving you that stupid relevancy score or the quality score, that they've got in the ads manager. I just completely ignore that thing. I'm like, you're just causing me nightmares. Um, yeah, it's terrible. It is terrible. They don't the whole thing is the platform is made for e-commerce. So they think that having cheaper sales and leads is what you want, and that is not the truth. So what's happening is that it will bring you garbage. And I don't how do you want to say this? I found that there's really not much in there that I use Advantage Plus on. I could take my ads, which I'm normally paying like $30 to $40 a lead. I could put it in Advantage Plus and my leads go down to $20 a lead. But then I get complete garbage. There is a way now that you can put in the rules to the account where like I could try Advantage Plus because what was happening, it was even going to women and men. And I almost always just advertise to women. That's kind of my niche. And that it was completely ignoring the gender suggestion. And I was getting people that I didn't really want to work with. We'll put it that way. And now there is an area in a setting in the ads manager that you can like overall if you want to use Advantage Plus, you can at least set like gender, location, age, a couple of those types of things. So I could use Advantage Plus and have it just exclude men, but I tried it and it kind of sucked. So I just went back to really tightening in and going back into manual control, and it's working great. But there was a period of time there last few months it was like kind of bad as the algorithm like I think I know my algorithm rolled out and updated probably like May June, is when I got it, and my account was like a mess for a few months. And it's finally come back around, and it's not like having a spaz anymore. It was not great. I'll just put it that way. But I also want to tell you that when you are using your going back to um you know that this here and going back to your top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel ads, these ads are sending signals to the account and the algorithm who is your ideal person. You're literally telling it. You're telling it who is your ideal person by who responds to this. This goes back to if you're not getting the right people, you're not sending the right signal. And so that's what this is about. It's about building audiences, like so you can use them to retarget, but it's also about sending the algorithm the right message. So we've got to be like really thinking, what does my ideal perfect prospect want? What does my ideal client, what is my ideal business partner? What is my ideal customer? Like, what do they want? What would repel them? And you create those videos off of this. Okay. The last thing I wanted to talk about is okay, there we go. Um, I just had it in my head and it just popped in and out. Um, just engagement. It's really important to um create content that people are going to engage with. And sometimes you have, you've got control of that, sometimes you don't. Like the ad that I'm currently running right now, um, is it's going like crazy. This particular ad is just got a lot of content, a lot of comments. This ad is a newer ad. I ran it, then I turned it off a little bit, and then I relaunched it. I wrote this on August 7th, and my ads manager finally came back around to earth just a few weeks ago. And when I relaunched it, now I've got tons of comments. Like every time I come over here, there's new comments. And so this ad, and I've got a couple other ones. I've got another one that's got like 800 comments. I've got a couple others that are like, same neighborhood here, and these are, when you create these ads, you want ads that people are gonna, that they're gonna engage with. You also want, and that includes like how, you could put comment below, your whatever to get it, that on there. You could. I don't, but you could. You see people say that drop the word, classy, and I'll send you this thing. And they're using automations, to work with that. And that sends the signal to the platform that people are engaged and they're commenting and you're responding. So you could do that. It's the like a little opt-in using automations. If you're using Profit Lead Pro, their automations are in there that do this. And another one that's popular is ManyChat. So it's like drop the thing below, like a keyword trigger. So these are good. I gotta go this way. Videos, of course, are engaging. Likes and comments, but any type of engagement. Because what does this do? It keeps people on the platform. And that's all the platform wants. So they're heavily rewarding engagement on the ads or your posts. So there's that. The last thing I'm going to talk about, which I thought this was the last thing, but I do want to give you one more thing, and this is going to melt some of your brains, but I don't mean to do it. Um, if you know, professional profiles. So if you have a really big following, organic following with prospects on your profile, you could consider flipping it to professional mode. I would not suggest this. Do not do this if you don't have a lot of prospects on your profile. Because everybody is like, oh, I should flip my profile. And I'm like, wait a minute. Do you have a lot of people on that profile that is all business prospects? Well, no. Well, why would you do it then? But if you have a following, you know, you've been building for years and you've got a lot of potential business on that profile, like say you're a realtor and you've got like all these people that have bought houses from you and you've got you know their friends and you know like you've built a real following on your profile, you could flip it to professional mode because you can also run ads from that profile on the profile. So it's pretty cool. You can also you can run ads, you can get deeper metrics and reports. So like there's advantage to doing this. Um, and we've seen it. But don't do it if you don't have a big organic following. Like use your page. But you know, I've got a profile that has, you know, 4,000 prospects on it. That's a different story, right? So somebody that would be like a public figure, or you've been really putting yourself out there a long time, you have a big following. There's people that even have their profile as their business. I've seen that. Flip it to professional mode, hands down, flip it. Because then you've got these other features. You unlock a lot of features in professional mode. You can flip it back if you ever wanted to, but this is, you know, a really big thing. So, yeah, this is all like really good stuff. If you, we're about here at the top of the hour. I was thinking I was just going to go like a half hour. But any questions on this before we go? I literally have like 2 minutes. And you drop it in the chat or you can just unmute. Are you guys good? Was this thorough enough? Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, I know you've been asking questions as we've been going along too, so this is good. Well, any last questions, drop it in. If not, we'll wrap up and we'll do, I don't remember what the topic is next week. I'll have to look. Um, I do have these last few things here. I do have these, I'm posting them on YouTube, the recordings. And also too, if you have not set up um your call with us, your like you know strategy call to figure out if ads are the right thing or where you should start or what you should do, you need to do that. And I'm gonna, in case if you're watching this rebroadcast, the link is below the video. If you are live here, I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. So it's really important. We've talked to thousands and thousands and thousands upon thousands of people, and you know, try to figure out, is it the right time to run ads? Do you need help running your ads? You know, where should you start? You know, is it even a good fit for what you want to achieve with your business? It's not for everybody, that's for sure. There we go. Here we are. All right, so let's come on. I'm putting these rebroadcasts here on the this YouTube channel. It's the Likes to Leads YouTube channel. I am I'll drop it in the chat for you, but I also have it, I just haven't had a chance to pull them into the Skool Community. because I just have run out of time. But I am putting them here pretty fast. Like this will be done and put here pretty fast, and then we can get it all out there. I've also got shorts on here. Please subscribe to this channel because once I get to I this is a newer channel for me, and once I get to 1,000, I can get unlocked new benefits, as as they like to say as a creator. But this is where I'm putting all the rebroadcasts. So, all right. Well, I will see you guys next week. Have a wonderful weekend. I don't know where you're living, but we're supposed to have a nice hot one. So we have to enjoy it now before we get into that time of year where it's sweater time, right? Right now we're still in short sleeves. So take care, everybody. Have a great week and weekend, and I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.